And in the top right corner, the blue Terran, Dwonker. In the bottom left corner, the red Terran, Deeznuts. Deeznuts, a bit of a joker. Welcome to the channel. He is a Platinum 1 Terran. Looking for a promotion. He's on a 7-game win streak. So he's got to be brimming with confidence right now. Playing his all-time best Starcraft. Looking for that diamond promotion. He's hungry for it. He's got to go against a veteran here in Dwonker, who we've seen a lot of on the channel. Granted, he's playing his off race, but he's starting to get the reps in with Terran. Getting better. Although there's still some holes in his game, for sure, that maybe Deeznuts can exploit. We'll see. Both players doing identical builds. Just basic stuff right now. Getting their barracks at the top of the ramp. Supply depot next to it. We have an SCV coming across the map for Deeznuts. Dwonker now likely to start up a command center here. Okay, he's hiding the SCV. I think he knew that Deeznuts was looking to attack the SCV if it were to be constructing a command center. Pulls it back. And now he's going on the offensive. Builds it. And Deeznuts just not reacting here. Additionally, the Reaper is now out. It's timed up better. A little bit of a nifty move from Dwonker there. Now moving the Reaper behind to finish off the SCV. Gets one SCV. Dwonker now making up for a little bit slower SCV production. That was the case beforehand. He seemed to be down one SCV for some reason. Got slightly out macroed, so that kind of evened it up. Although the red Terran has one Marine extra on Dwonker. Now we see here Dwonker's coming in. He's trying to cancel the construction of this command center. Gets it accomplished. And also getting the hell out of there now with the Reaper. And the red Terran has two Marines, has a Reaper. Whereas Dwonker, he's getting that reactor up. This barracks has just been pumping out Marines in contrast, no reactor. We see factory coming up here with a reactor. Tech lab on this racks. Third CC starts up quicker for the red Terran. So we'll keep an eye on that. Dwonker keeping his Reaper alive. Starting to macro up here. Both players very even right now. We have an identical game. Although you gotta like this quick third CC from Deeznuts. Maybe that will serve him well in the mid game. Starport up. He's going reactor on the starport. More of a conventional army, medvac Viking based. So is Dwonker. A tad later. Dwonker up 2 SCVs on his opponent. Still hasn't started that third command center. He's coming in here with the Reaper now, trying to get a scout off. Scouts the third CC. Scouts the 2 extra racks is coming down. It gets taken down by this defensive siege tank. Placed in a good spot. And that's something Dwonker doesn't really have. His factory has been idle. So he doesn't have a siege tank out yet. And I'm kind of liking the position of the red Terran. Really pulling ahead in the SCV count now. That third CC has come online. Sending out a scan of Dwonker's infrastructure. Could have been a mule. But it's good to have information. at the production tab here. Stimpack on the way for Dwonker much earlier than his opponent. But otherwise, a very solid build from our Platinum player, Deeznuts. Also on 3 racks. No add-ons, however. Dwonker's starting to pull some mineral. He needs to get some extra barracks down. Putting 2 eBays down as well. Another barracks, okay. Liberator coming out now for Dwonker. Dwonker's starting to fan out his units. He could be a little bit vulnerable here. He has no idea what's coming towards him. If we look at his vision, it's not much. This command center now finished for Dwonker. The Liberator coming in. It needs to find some damage. I think Dwonker knows the Red Terran has the lead on the CCs. The timings of them. And look at this Liberator. Takes out 3 SCVs, 4 SCVs. I don't think Dwonker is microing this. 5 SCVs. So I think that was worth. Kind of lowers the advantage that Deeznuts had. Now it's only 3 SCV difference between the 2 players. These eBays could be getting upgrades here. But Dwonker is short on gas. I would suggest taking that refinery. This command center is landing for the Red Terran. Who's once again climbing up in the SCV count. Dwonker flying his 3rd CC down slightly later. So both players just kind of gearing up for the mid game. Dwonker still hasn't started that 1-1. Bit of an oversight. He's been gas starved. And we see here not fully saturated on this geyser. It's really hurting him. And we have a very, very close opening game here. I would say a slight advantage to the Red Terran maybe. He's just up a few workers. Up 1 siege tank. He's got 7 Marauders as well. Actually, sorry, that's Dwonker with the 7 Marauders. So maybe that makes up the siege tank difference. And in fact, Dwonker does have the slightly larger army. We see here Armory coming down. Now the 1-1 is started. He's finally woken up at home. The 3rd base is much more saturated for the Red Terran, however. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. 10 worker advantage. So Dwonker getting out macroed by the Platinum 1 Terran here. And yes, there is a slight army advantage for Dwonker, a supply advantage. But if you're not able to use it right now to leverage that army advantage while you're getting out mined, you're not going to be in a great position in the late game. So we'll see if Dwonker pushes out onto the map or not, or if he's content to just kind of keep building SCVs and catch up, hopefully. But he's getting out macroed right here, in my opinion, ever so slightly. Waiting for that 1-1 to kick in. We see here Dwonker has really expanded his barracks capacity onto about 7 racks right now. I would like to see 8. But the problem is here for our Red Terran, he only has 4 racks. So the Red Terran has a great economy. Spending his money also better than Dwonker. For the moment. But I would like to see some more barracks go down for him. He has a double factory instead. So we'll see if maybe a superior siege tank count can really do him well here. A lot of Vikings also in the air for Deeznuts. Really does have air superiority. There's only 2 Vikings and a lot of medvacs for Dwonker. So Dwonker more invested in the bio, less so the Vikings and tanks. And we see here scans coming out. So the alarm bells should be going off for Dwonker. He's getting scanned like there's no tomorrow, so obviously there's going to be some kind of aggression incoming. It's around that time in the game where people get close to maxed out and they start getting frisky, especially if they don't have a fourth base down yet. They're thinking, I gotta push. And we see both players are now just getting their fourth bases up at almost identical times. 69 SCVs to 69 SCVs. The army sizes are very similar. Upgrades are similar. Slight army size advantage to Dwonker, actually. At this point, he's got a 20 supply lead. So now Dwonker has swung the pendulum as his late game macro started to kick in. Just like that clan tag says. Late game. What we see here, Deeznuts has a very scary army himself, and he is looking to flex. He's scanning. Dwonker has a decent tank spread over here, but if these tanks are unsupported by any army, they will get taken out very quick, just like this tank. And now Dwonker does want to funnel through that choke. Actually going up both sides with his bio, but he's running into a very thick tank core. And that's not going to work for him. Now Dwonker's got to fall back to his tank core. And that's what he's doing. This orbital command is under threat. So Dwonker built an extra CC in the late game, which is not a bad move. We see here momentarily the Red Terran has the supply advantage. Has the army advantage. This tank count is completely out of control. It's just a matter of leapfrogging them forward. And he should be able to do it with a bit of micro because he does have the air advantage as well to deny vision for Dwonker. That orbital is just floating in the air. And I feel like Deeznuts is a little bit too liberal with his scans considering he has the air advantage. Scanning a lot. Now he's just walking into a huge siege tank line from Dwonker. This isn't going to be a great trade for him. Another tank sieges up here. We got reinforcements coming in. And the bio for Dwonker kind of pushes this back. Snipes another Viking. Trying to chase those Vikings down. Pulls back. There's a reinforced position with a couple tanks here. And now Dwonker sending these medvacs out onto the map. Oh, no wait, he's coming back. A little bit of indecision. Planetary Fortress up here for Dwonker at the fourth base location. And the SCV count is very similar. 81 to 74 actually. The Red Terran has the superior count. CC is flying down here for Dwonker. Now this medvac drop is coming out. Couple SCVs go down. Now Dwonker's coming in here. He's going to take out this command center. But we also have a push out onto the bottom right from the Red Terran. And the Red Terran here scanning this region. Dwonker knows it's going to be attacked. But his army is a little bit out of position to handle this. A lot of siege tanks sieging up here. Flies this extra CC out. Repair goes down on the Planetary Fortress. And now Dwonker really needs his whole army to fight this. The Vikings are going to work onto the opponent. Planetary is getting siege. It's costing money to repair, but Dwonker does have the bigger bank. Now Dwonker's just coming in here. He's sieging up his own tanks. And the tanks were shooting the Planetary, actually. And now this gets completely wiped out. A huge bioforce with a tank backup by Dwonker blows this out of the water. And the beast on the battlefield is also a beast when it comes to the Terran race, apparently. I think he was slightly behind for most of this game, but a couple of engagements have really gone Dwonker's way here. Look at the units lost tab. He's 3k resources up on his opponent. 2 medvacs coming across the map. The main army is checking this location. No base there. Dwonker also expanding here, dropping mules. Gets another cancel on this base. Fights with a few of these units because he knew that medvac was going to die most likely, and gets out the other medvac. Some pretty good micro coming out here from Dwonker. 5 bases to 3 now. And you gotta wonder if this game is going to come to an end soon or not. We look at the infrastructure. 2-1 only for Dwonker. He's got to keep those upgrades coming. He's got so much money. And the Red Terran, Deeznuts, has been keeping current with his upgrades. He's 2-3. So if there's any hope here, and 1-1 on the siege tanks. Dwonker siege tanks are 0-0, so he's really sucking with the upgrades, to be honest. Two armies moving out in different locations. Completely pass each other. And oh no. Dwonker seemed like he had the army advantage. Slight army advantage, but both players electing for some kind of base trade. Not fighting each other. And this is getting really dicey real quick for both players. Dwonker is coming right up the ramp in the natural, whereas Deeznuts taking some time to kill these bases. Orbital is flying back. SCVs are being evacuated to a new location. Dwonker is pushing up this ramp. To be honest, he's flogging himself a little bit in terms of the units. Siege tanks are not getting much done. And now, Dwonker is losing his natural. This tank on the ridge getting some shots off. At 11 kills, finally gets taken out with a nice scan. Meanwhile, Dwonker is killing this main. Dwonker does have 2 side expansions, as does the Red Terran player. Dwonker has a way bigger bank as well. But what good is the bank if your infrastructure is being taken out? And we see here, Deeznuts wisely splitting off units in 2 locations. Dwonker leaving a medvac back here to finish off this main base, as he's coming back home to try and defend. And has Deeznuts gotten himself in a dominant position? Look at this tank count. Somewhat inferior to Dwonker's, but it's on the high ground. Dwonker doesn't have vision, loses a good 4 tanks there beforehand, and now Dwonker cannot siege up this ridge. He doesn't have the vision nor the tank advantage anymore. And holy crap. Dwonker trying to get these 2 bases up and running. I think he wants to contain Deeznuts. He's giving up the main. He knows he can't go up the ramp because he doesn't have vision. But maybe he can punish Deeznuts coming down this ramp while using this bio to clean up what's left of the red player. But if Dwonker's not careful, Deeznuts will get back into this. He's got a mineral line mining more than Dwonker is right now. And the main base is getting taken out at a quicker rate. Dwonker's main base, that is. And now a scan coming down here for the vision. Dwonker has no vision on this ramp. No vision whatsoever. Gets shelled down. No scan. And now Dwonker scans, but too little too late. He's already lost most tanks. And has Deeznuts won this game now? Dwonker is in an impossible position. I feel like, because he doesn't have the army advantage up north anymore, even more Marines losing to this tank choke. So even if Dwonker is cleaning up this base, Deeznuts still has this. Dwonker has these 2 bases over here, but the army advantage definitely goes to Deeznuts. Look at this tank count. Look at this Marine count. Walks right into some tanks. 1 tank, rather, that's sieged. Dwonker needs to get the hell out of there. Loses a bunch of bio, which are badly bruised, to a tank volley. And now if we just look at the army sizes, plus the fact that Dwonker's Marines are totally bruised up with no medvacs, it's becoming unlikely that Dwonker's going to win this game. He's trying to evacuate this CC up north. And his other base is directly to the left of this death ball here from Deeznuts. He's decided to go south with his inferior army. I feel like he did build some new troops, I think. These are new troops that came out of this infrastructure over here, which is now being sieged down. So those new troops may help Dwonker, but still, he's lacking in army size compared to the Red Terran. Losing this base as well, the Viking can finish this off, even if Dwonker keeps it in the air. But the Marines stutter stepping forward, take out that command center. 2 command centers coming up here for the Red Terran. Dwonker punishing this CC here. But eventually he's going to meet his maker. Dwonker holding the top of the ramp. What the hell is Deeznuts doing? He's not microing his Marines. They're just running by. Being taken out by Dwonker. The whole Marine force of Deeznuts did not even shoot a single shot. And got completely massacred. And now there's only 3 tanks left and a wounded Viking for Deeznuts. This command center also gets taken out. And holy crap, I thought Dwonker was done in this game. He's got to be careful though if he loses this refinery. I'm not sure if he has any other structures keeping him alive on this map. Okay, he's building partial supply depots to avoid losing all of his structures. It's going to come down to who has any structures left standing. That's the win condition. And if not for that supply depot, I think Dwonker would have died. There's still quite a bit of infrastructure which hasn't been killed off. But the Red Terran here only has a Viking and 2 tanks. And slowly but surely, this medvac will regenerate energy to heal. Look at this. Dwonker's pouncing on the tanks unsieged. Coming in here. 1 tank siege is up, but can't even get a volley off. Would have been better to stay into tank mode. Pick off a couple of wounded Marines, maybe. But regardless, Deeznuts just threw the game. He's got no units left. And Dwonker starting to take command centers now. He had a couple SCVs that survived. Deeznuts trying to reestablish the southern location here. But he's only got 1 Viking on the field. 3 SCVs to 2 SCVs. And it's now the calm after the storm. Deeznuts complaining in the chat that he's thrown the game. Lamenting the fact. And to be honest, that was a hard throw. All those Marines going up the ramp. Like he says, severe miss micro. Not a single shot was fired, and Dwonker's Marines were so wounded. Less total Marines as well. This Viking here getting some value, but it's not going to be enough. Wow, I don't even think Dwonker canceled that command center. Big mistake considering there's not much else going on right here. Dwonker branching off some units now to finish off this main base. It's coming back online. Dwonker wants to take this gold. Starting a barracks. And the infrastructure just got taken out in the nick of time. Deeznuts has no money left either, whereas Dwonker has a huge bank. So if Dwonker gets a bit of infrastructure up, that's even worse for Deeznuts. Deeznuts now trying to punt Marines out of this location, building a bunker to reinforce it. It's his only hope. If maybe Marines trade poorly into a bunker. Once Dwonker finds about this location, and look at this Viking just being annoying here. Takes out another SCV in command center building. Dwonker now trying to deal with it. Stims forward. I think that was a bit of a wasteful stim, to be honest. There was no HP on that Viking. These units now over here cleaning up the main. Still a couple turrets alive over here. Dwonker's got to make sure to kill these. That's the win condition. A CC floated over here for safekeepings. 1 Marine south of this base for Deeznuts. 17 Marines, though. 2 Marauders for Dwonker. Only 3 Marines on the field for Deeznuts. Dwonker doesn't mind sending his whole army to deal with this. He knows 1 Marine is huge for Deeznuts right now. Just going to get a free kill right there, pretty much. Yes, Deeznuts did delay the construction of that CC. However, I think his fate is pretty much sealed here. He threw that game before. He really did. So Marauder here finishes off a turret. Deeznuts is now reduced to this and this. His command center trying to float up north, it seems. Find greener pastures. He's got to try to sneak in a secret base without Dwonker looking. But now Dwonker starting to get mules onto this gold mineral patch. He's got a lot of money in the bank. A factory coming up too. Dwonker now sees this location. He's sniping the command center. Snipes the CC. The wounded medvac retreats. Didn't want to fight the bunker. A very conservative move. He might have been able to kill the bunker, but Dwonker knows that's the only way his opponent can get back into this game is if he throws all of those Marines away just trying to attack a bunker that's being repaired. Or maybe the medvac gets shot down since it had no life and then the Marines fall afterwards. So very conservative play from Dwonker. Now he knows he has a factory with a tech lab ready, so now he's just going to pump out a tank, and I think he's waiting for that to deal with the bunker. Smart move. He knows what his win condition is. A backup base over here, now turning into an orbital. And even though there's 6 SCVs on the map for the red Terran, they're not mining over here. Deeznuts just laughing in the chat at what kind of situation he's found himself in. Dwonker wisely branched off a Marine to investigate up north. And he finds the jackpot. Takes out these 2 SCVs, disrupts mining over here. And Deeznuts just has no money left. I mean, it's basically GG now. Dwonker mining the gold base. Second tank coming out. I don't know what he's waiting for, to be honest. This Marine chasing down the CC. Knows that he might have to hunt that CC down if Deeznuts is a sore loser. Getting a starport even. Back online. He's going to need some Vikings just in case, because Deeznuts has not GG'd. And he must know that it's over here. This SCV slugging it out over here, outnumbered. And Dwonker coming in here now. The tank sieging up outside the bunker. Deeznuts finally calls GG. And what a banger. Deeznuts really performed well, had Dwonker up against the ropes. But overall, maybe the moment got to him. Through the game, moving those Marines up a ramp without attack 2ing. No shots were fired, got completely demolished. GG.